There's a question sitting quietly in the back of a lot of people's minds right now, and it's becoming harder to ignore. If AI keeps improving at this pace, then what exactly is left for human beings? That question sounds dramatic, but it's not irrational anymore. AI can already write, summarize, research, code, generate design drafts, analyze documents, answer questions instantly, and in many situations, present itself with a level of confidence that makes the average worker look slow. So when people worry that some of the skills they've spent years building may be losing value, that concern is understandable. But I think there's another side to this that many people have still not seen clearly enough. The stronger AI gets, the more it starts exposing a difference between basic output and deep value. Once intelligence becomes cheap and widely available, the premium moves. It moves away from average production and toward the qualities that are harder to automate convincingly: judgment, trust, empathy, strategic instinct, synthesis, and calm decision making when reality is messy. That is the human edge. And this is what I want to make practical in this video. Not just another lecture about AI changing the world. I want to show you three human strengths that are becoming more valuable as AI gets better. What they look like in the real world, the kind of jobs that reward them, and the kind of learning paths that you can actually pursue if you want to build them deliberately. The first is strategic intuition. The second is empathy. And the third is learning how to stop competing with AI as if it were your rival and start using it like a powerful but limited intern under your direction. Let's start with strategic intuition. One of the biggest mistakes people make with AI is assuming that because it can process huge amounts of information, it therefore understands reality better than humans do. What AI is genuinely excellent at is pattern recognition. It looks backward very well. It can identify trends, compare examples, generate likely outcomes, and tell you what usually happens under similar conditions. That matters. It's useful. In some settings, it's transformative. But real life is not always neat enough for pattern recognition to be enough. Real decisions are often made when the data is incomplete, when incentives are hidden, when timing is uncertain, when people are emotional, and when the cost of getting it wrong is high. That's where strategic intuition starts to matter. Strategic intuition is the ability to make a strong decision when the spreadsheet is no longer enough. It's what allows you to notice that something looks good on paper, but feels wrong in reality. It's what helps you ask a better question than the obvious one. It's what makes you think, yes, this is efficient right now, but what exactly does it break 6 months from now? That isn't just intelligence, that's judgment. Imagine you run a growing business and a new African market opens up for your product. On paper, the opportunity looks attractive. Large population, growing demand, a few competitors already entering. AI can help you analyze the market, summarize reports, compare similar countries, and estimate likely outcomes. All that is useful, no doubt. But then real life enters the picture. The regulations are unstable, local trust behavior is different, purchasing power is uneven, digital payment habits don't mirror the neighboring market as neatly as the report implied. Politically, one small change could affect adoption. At that point, the important question is no longer what does the data say? It becomes, given what we know, what we don't know, and what may shift before we scale, what is the smartest move right now? That is strategy. Now, here's another example. A company wants to cut costs by replacing parts of its customer support team with AI. On paper, it makes sense. Faster replies, lower salary costs, 24-hour availability. But a strong human strategist asks a more uncomfortable question. What happens to trust when a frustrated customer with a billing issue, a medical issue, or a legal issue realizes that there is no thoughtful human available when the problem becomes serious? What exactly are we saving in costs, and what are we risking in loyalty? That again is strategic intuition. And yes, this maps directly into real jobs. If you are strong in this area, you should pay attention to roles like product manager, business analyst, operations strategist, founder, policy analyst, management consultant, market expansions lead, program manager, and chief of staff. These roles are not mainly about doing tasks faster. They're about making better decisions when no answer is perfectly clean. So if someone watching this is asking, what should I actually aim for if I want to build this skill? The answer is straightforward. Aim for work where judgment has economic value. Aim for roles where thinking through messy reality is part of the job, not just a side benefit. And if you want to start building that skill, lean into areas like decision making, systems thinking, business strategy, behavioral economics, product thinking, scenario planning, and risk analysis. Read case studies. Study failed businesses, not just successful ones. Learn how incentives distort decisions. Learn how timing changes outcomes. In an AI era, one of the most valuable things you can become is not merely productive, it is perceptive. Now let's move to the second pillar, empathy. I think empathy is about to become far more valuable than many people expect. Because as synthetic content becomes normal, genuine human connection becomes premium. Think about the direction we're headed. AI can write emails, draft sales messages, generate polished replies, produce customer support answers, and imitate warmth with increasing sophistication. But there is still a difference between language that sounds caring and presence that feels real. And that difference becomes obvious in moments that actually matter. When someone is confused, when someone is anxious, when someone is embarrassed, when someone is in pain, when someone is deciding whether to trust you. This is where empathy stops being a soft extra and starts becoming an economic skill. It affects leadership, sales, brand loyalty, negotiation, management, coaching, community building, and client retention. Now, if you can make people feel understood rather than handled, heard rather than processed, you become harder to replace. Because real empathy is not just saying the right sentence, it is reading context, it is noticing what is not being said, it is hearing hesitation, it is knowing when to slow down, it is recognizing when someone needs clarity more than charisma. Imagine you are a team lead. One of your best employees has not resigned, he has not complained, has not openly broken down, but their energy has changed. Their work is technically still fine, but they are disengaged, shorter in communication, less proactive, less emotionally present. An AI dashboard may tell you productivity dipped by 12%. A human with empathy notices something deeper. This person is probably burnt out, discouraged, or mentally checked out. If you handle that well, you may save a valuable employee. If you miss it, you may lose them silently. That is not just emotional intelligence, that is value creation. Or think about a high ticket salesperson. AI can generate scripts, objection handlers, follow up sequences, and even closing frameworks. But when the buyer is hesitant because they do not yet trust the process, or they are afraid of making a costly mistake, or they need confidence more than information, the human who can hold that moment well still has the edge. That is empathy in action. There are real jobs where this matters deeply, like customer success manager, community manager, therapist, coach, HR business partner, recruiter, teacher, nurse, sales consultant, partnership manager, creator, and yes, founder. Any role where trust is part of the value will continue to reward empathy. So if someone wants a practical direction here, the answer is to aim for work where trust is part of the product, not just output. And if you want to grow this skill, learn from fields like negotiation, counseling basics, community building, conflict resolution, leadership communication, consumer psychology, active listening, and of course, public speaking. But don't just stop at courses. Practice this in real life. Have better conversations. Listen longer. Interrupt less. Pay attention to emotional subtext. Learn how to ask questions that help people to open up. In a world full of synthetic language, being deeply human stops being ordinary. It becomes premium. Now, to the third pillar, AI as the intern, you as the director. This is where a lot of people are still thinking far too small. They are still trying to prove they can work without AI, as if refusing the tool is somehow the path to long-term relevance. That is the wrong competition. The smarter question is not, how do I beat AI? For most people, AI is not a thing you beat, it is a thing you direct. The real question is whether you can use AI without becoming intellectually lazy. Because AI can generate many things, but it does not automatically generate vision, coherence, or taste. It gives you material, but you still have to provide direction. AI can give you 10 options. You still have to know which one is worth pursuing. AI can summarize information. You still have to know what matters. AI can help draft a strategy. You still have to decide whether that strategy fits the moment, the audience, the values, and the reality on the ground. That skill is synthesis, and it is becoming one of the most valuable human skills of this entire period. Synthesis is the ability to take scattered outputs, conflicting data, weak signals, half-finished ideas, and machine-generated fragments and turn them into one clear, useful direction. That is what strong founders do. It is what great editors do. It is what serious operators do. It is what good teachers do. It is what excellent content creators do. It is what directors do. Imagine you are creating a campaign for a brand. AI can generate ad copy, customer personas, visual concepts, email drafts, market summaries, and competitor analysis. Fine. But none of that means the campaign is good. You still need someone to look at all of it and say, this message is too generic. This tone does not fit the audience. This offer solves the wrong problem. This visual may attract attention but damage trust. This strategy might work in America and fail in Nigeria. This idea is clever but not true to the brand. That is direction. That is synthesis. And this is exactly why the future will reward people who know how to command tools rather than fear them. There are real roles where this matters, like creative director, editor, product lead, brand strategist, research lead, content strategist, UX researcher, instructional designer, marketing manager, AI workflow designer, operations lead, and even solo entrepreneur. These are roles where the value is not in producing the first draft. It is in aligning the output to reality. So if you want to build this skill, then yes, learn prompting, but do not stop there. Also build research synthesis, strategic writing, creative direction, product framing, information architecture, editorial judgment, and workflow design. Learn how to compare outputs critically. Learn how to improve weak ideas. Learn how to combine technology with a clear human point of view. That is where the leverage is. Now, let's bring all of this down to something practical. How do you sharpen your human edge this week? Well, there are 3 things you can do immediately. First, practice judgment. Take one real decision in your life or work and force yourself to think beyond the obvious. You can ask, what is missing here? What assumptions am I making? Who benefits if I choose this option? What future problem might this create? That begins training strategic intuition. Second, practice empathy deliberately. Have one real conversation this week where your goal is not to be impressive, not to be quick, not to sound clever. Just understand the person deeply. Listen carefully. Ask one follow-up question than normal. Notice what emotion is underneath the words. That begins training rational intelligence. Third, practice directing AI instead of consuming it passively. The next time you use AI, do not take the first answer. Interrogate it, refine it, ask for alternatives. Push it from different angles. Then combine the best parts with your own judgment. That begins training synthesis. And if you keep doing those three things, you stop becoming someone who merely survives AI. You become someone who gains value because of AI. That is the bigger point here. Every major technological shift does two things. It automates what is common and it increases the value of what is rare. Right now, raw output is becoming common. What is becoming rare is discernment, empathy, taste, trust, calm judgment under uncertainty, the ability to connect dots that are not obviously connected, the ability to make people feel understood, and the ability to take machine abundance and turn it into human value. So no, the future is not about learning prompts, and it's not about trying to outmachine the machine. It is about becoming more human on purpose, more thoughtful, more perceptive, more emotionally intelligent, more strategically grounded, more useful in situations where reality is too messy for automation alone. That is the edge. That is the opportunity. And that is why I do not believe the AI era automatically makes humans less valuable. I think it makes shallow value less valuable. But deep value, real judgment, real trust, real synthesis, real empathy may become even more expensive. And if you build that now, seriously and intentionally, you are not just protecting yourself, you are positioning yourself. I'm Emmanuel Corels. See you in the next video.